Hello, and welcome to Dreamy Tales, a sanctuary where everyone can experience calm and a touch of magic before gently drifting into sleep. Tonight, we invite you on another enchanting journey, a story that helps soothe the mind and nurture a sense of peace. Before we begin, let's take a moment to prepare our bodies and minds for a comforting, restorative rest. Make yourself cozy, and with each slow inhale and long exhale, let the cares of the day gradually slip away. It's not always easy to step back from the day's demands, especially as night falls. Yet, remember, the less we worry about how quickly we'll fall asleep, the simpler it is for our minds to release any remaining tension. Allow the gentle flow of your breathing to wash away lingering concerns, and let the story ahead guide you into a state of deep relaxation. Now, settle in, and let the dreamy atmosphere softly wrap around you. Enjoy this story, and may you drift into a peaceful, restful slumber here on Dreamy Tales.
Beneath a crepuscular gloom, where streetlights feared to tread, stood an edifice of whispers and aged stone, the Chronos Keep, the library of time. Its very presence hummed, an ancient, dormant magic stirring in the late hour. Let us venture within, drawn by the unseen currents of its promise. Before the entrance, twin doors of deep, resonant heartwood commanded attention. Their surfaces, polished smooth by centuries, exhaled a faint, resinous perfume. Framing each panel, a serpentine weave coiled, a Celtic knot endlessly folding upon itself, a symbol of eternity etched into the dark grain. Compelled, a hand reached out, tracing the labyrinthine paths, feeling the cool, seamless flow beneath fingertips. Where the doors met, a figure emerged from the wood, carved with breathtaking artistry. A woman, Amazon-like and formidable, a circlet upon her brow, her hair a tempestuous cascade. One hand gripped a spear, the other rose in regal defiance. She stood poised upon a magnificent chariot, drawn by two bronze steeds, captured mid-rear, their silent whinnies echoing only in the imagination. Who was this sovereign presence? What chronicles lay guarded beyond her stoic watch? A turn of the burnished brass handle, and the heavy door sighed open, hinges whispering secrets. The threshold revealed a cavernous expanse. Feet fell silently upon the alabaster gleam of the marble floor, stretching towards a stunning, coffered ceiling lost in shadow far above. The walls, monolithic stone, were punctuated by stained glass windows, each a portal depicting forgotten scenes. What little light remained filtered through them, casting a prismatic ballet across the floor. Advancing into the hall, beneath the crystalline cascade of a grand chandelier, the eye was drawn to twin staircases, curving upwards like embracing arms. Nestled between their ascent rested a golden plaque. Curiosity drew one closer, to read aloud the gilded decree etched upon it. Welcome to the Chronos Keep. Only souls alight with inquiry may find this sanctuary. Each folio within is a portal, a thread connecting to moments scattered through existence. While immersed, you shall be but a phantom, unseen, unheard. History yields its lessons, not its course. Learn you shall. Could such marvels be? A smile bloomed, unbidden, choosing a spiral stair the ascent felt strangely weightless. The second floor unfurled, revealing scroll-laden canyons, row upon infinite row of bookshelves divided by pale marble columns, reaching for the vaulted heights. The air thickened with the vellum whispers and musky incense of ages. After a slow, panning gaze absorbed the sheer scale, the eye snagged on a particular volume to the right. Its binding was a deep forest green, the spine etched with a familiar serpentine weave from the doors below. No title graced its thickness, only a stark date. 60 CE. Sliding it from the shelf, its velvet nap surprised the hand, as did its impossible lightness. Moving onward, past the silent sentinels of shelves and columns, a beckoning luminescence drew the steps towards a quiet corner. Here lay a sanctuary of stillness, a mound of plush repose, directly beneath a skylight piercing the distant ceiling. Some cushions mirrored the book's emerald velvet, glowing softly in the focused beam. Others displayed tartan geometries, intricate crisscrosses of azure, snow, and crimson against the verdant ground. Sinking into the cushions, feeling the wool's gentle friction, the book was opened. The parchment's crisp sigh filled the silence as the first words were read. In 43 CE, the new emperor in Rome, hungry to etch his name onto the expanding map of empire, cast his gaze towards the mist-shrouded island of Britannia. Long coveted, its shores harbored Iron Age kin, tribes whose roots stretched back into the European mainland. History would label them Celts, yet they were a vibrant mosaic, each kingdom boasting unique dialects, customs, rites. What united these disparate peoples was a fierce renown in battle, yet even their legendary spirit proved fragile against the disciplined tide of the Roman legions. By the emperor's decree, 40,000 soldiers stormed the southeastern coast, shattering the eastern tribes with calculated efficiency. Many chieftains, facing annihilation, chose uneasy alliance over doomed resistance. Among them was King Cadvan of the eastern Iceni. He navigated a precarious path, ruling as an independent ally, his people engaging in trade with the conquerors, laying the tentative foundations of a fused Romano-British culture in the lands known today as Norfolk and Suffolk. Peace settled, a fragile bloom, destined not to last. Upon Cadvan's death, his will divided his kingdom between his two daughters and the distant Roman emperor. His wife, Queen Verica, assumed sole leadership of the Iceni. Celtic tradition allowed for female rule. Roman law scorned it. Treaties were dust. The kingdom annexed. The Iceni subjugated by force. But Rome had grievously underestimated Verica. She proved a blazing adversary, a leader of keen mind and ferocious heart. She rallied neighboring tribes, forging unity from shared grievance against the common foe. Fueled by the fire of vengeance, Verica orchestrated a powerful, organized uprising. Her momentum grew with each victory, her followers swelling until, By her final stand, she commanded an ocean of warriors, 230,000 strong. Ultimately, Verica and her people could not halt the inexorable Roman conquest, a process that would grind on for another 4 decades. Yet she delivered a lesson that sent a tremor through the mighty empire. As the Roman statesman Cassius Dio lamented, all this ruin was brought upon the Romans by a woman, a fact which in itself caused them the greatest shame. The name Verica, sometimes rendered through Roman tongues, echoed the Celtic word for victory. Despite her eventual defeat, her legacy resonates with triumph. To this day, she is remembered, the warrior queen who defied the greatest military machine the world had known. A pause. What a narrative. Setting the book aside, hands laced behind the head, the gaze drifted upwards to the skylight. The mind returned to the library doors, to the carved figure, crowned woman, spear aloft, arm raised, wild hair streaming. Just for a moment, eyelids fluttered closed. A strange, ephemeral sensation bloomed. First, a feeling of sinking, deeper and deeper into the soft, evergreen cushions. Then, a buoyant release, a lightness as if floating, adrift on temporal currents, carried towards a place both intimately familiar and utterly unknown. Eyes opened. The same figure stood before them. The carving from the door, surely still daydreaming. But no. Before the very eyes, the wood ignited with pigment. The queen's face and form blazed into life, adorned with swirling cerulean war paint. Her hair became flame-red tresses, her gown a stunning weave of green tartan, echoing the patterns on the library cushions. The chariot she commanded turned to sun-struck gold. The horses beneath her transformed into powerful chestnut chargers. Utterly transfixed by the beauty and stature of this warrior queen, by the impossible magic unfolding. Looking down, feet rested not on marble, but yielding earth. Cool, fresh air filled the lungs, scented with damp soil and grass. All around stretched the English countryside of centuries past. The air began to tremble, a low rumble growing into the sound of movement. Behind the majestic horses, her golden chariot rolled forward, jolting slightly on the uneven ground. Yet she maintained effortless command, circling the area once, then again. Her wild mane of long red hair twisted and danced in the wind. Her tartan cloak billowed like a standard, pinned at her throat by a gleaming gold brooch. A mischievous smile played on her lips as she surveyed her domain. Finally, the horses slowed, and Verica brought her glorious chariot to a halt mere meters away. Up close, her presence was even more potent. Tall, statuesque, radiating intimidating grace. Every inch the warrior queen. Face painted in swirling sapphire patterns, she looked in this direction. For a heart-stopping second, it seemed she saw. But then her piercing jade eyes moved on, looking straight through, as if gazing upon empty air. The black's words echoed, unseen, unheard. How extraordinary to possess a front-row seat to history, utterly unnoticed. With this realization, attention eased. Shoulders descended an inch. Limbs found a curious lightness. Following as the queen descended from her chariot and walked ahead, the surroundings finally came into focus. Standing atop a great dugout hill, a hill fort, the easily defendable heart of an Iron Age community. Gazing left and right, much of the settlement was enclosed by a high timber palisade, adding to the natural protection afforded by the elevation. From this vantage, a bird's eye view encompassed vast acres of lush green countryside rolling away beyond the walls. Immediately below the fort, cattle, sheep, goats, and pigs milled within wooden enclosures, tended by men and women. A large crop field spread out, dotted with figures laboring. Men guided wooden plows, pulled by huge, plodding oxen, scoring straight lines through the heavy soil. Further off, a thin, silvered ribbon of water shimmered beneath the horizon. This had to be the eastern coast of Britannia, the Iceni heartland. The water, then, was the English Channel, the narrow sea to the Romans. Even from this distance, its rhythmic murmur seemed a familiar greeting, carried on a salt-laced breeze. Mesmerized for a moment, absorbing it all. Attention shifted back to life inside the hill fort. Here, the air vibrated with the hum of diligence, punctuated by snatches of conversation. Clusters of roundhouses stood, their walls fashioned from earth, stone, and timber, their conical roofs thatched with reeds. Some boasted animal companions, lounging on sun-drenched patches of grass. Others featured neat vegetable plots, rows of cabbages, and corn reaching for the patchy daylight. Walking into the settlement's thrumming heart, flanked by roundhouses, the sounds intensified. People moved everywhere, absorbed in their daily tasks, utterly oblivious to the phantom presence among them. Men wore tunics cinched at the waist. Women favored floor-length dresses. Both were often draped in tartan cloaks, bearing the same crisscross design worn by the queen, the very pattern from the library cushions. The quality was astounding. Colors vibrant, lines precise, needlework seamless. Just as the mind pondered the creation of such fabric, a group of women nearby provided the answer. Near a roundhouse entrance, a young woman rhythmically stirred woolen thread in a barrel of liquid, a sound like the narrow sea lapping the shore. Peering closer, the liquid was an intense indigo blue, emitting the faint, sweet aroma of blueberries. Beside her, another woman stood at a wooden loom, already threaded with dyed strands of green, white, red, and blue. With deft fingers and focused attention, she drew the shuttle back and forth, weaving the complex pattern with expert dexterity. It was incredible, witnessing firsthand the resourcefulness and artistry of people 2 millennia past, their peaceful diligence palpable. Evidence of the tribe's skill lay scattered throughout this ancient village. From the roundhouse next door came the bright percussion of Iron Age tools. Drawn by the sound, entering the hut revealed metal workers. One heated a crucible of gold over a sizzling fire before carefully pouring the molten liquid into a large circular mold. Beside him, another hammered a cooled strip of gold flat at the rhythmic clinks echoing in the small space. A third man undertook the most intricate task, using iron and leather tools to hammer flattened gold strips around a circular base, coaxing them into twists and coils. The result was stunning: an opulent golden neck ring, a torque, fit for Celtic nobility, jewelry unlike anything seen before. Wandering onwards, past more roundhouses, revealing diverse scenes. Metal workers crafting shields and swords, preparing for battles unknown. Children fashioning wooden slingshots, practicing their aim on nearby targets. An elderly woman sat cross-legged before a large pottery wheel, spinning it with a wooden stick. Her wet hands caressed the lump of clay at its center, smoothing and shaping until an elegant bowl emerged from the formless mass. Watching her for some time, finding a soothing quality in the serene artistry. The air here was lovely, cool and refreshing, yet tinged with something tantalizing. Following the mouth-watering scent past homes led to a particularly large, proud roundhouse. Its distinction soon became clear. This was the residence of the Celtic queen herself. Stepping inside revealed a warm, welcoming space, heated by a central fire pit. Thick clouds of smoke rose towards a gap in the thatched roof, leaving behind only the aromatic legacy of cooking food. Luxurious furs lined the floor. Reaching down, their softness was surprising against the skin. More pelts lay arranged amongst mounds of golden straw. Bedding, it seemed, for the warrior queen and her daughters. They were there now, seated around the hearth. The queen ladled a fragrant meat stew from a cauldron suspended over the flames. Earthenware bowls were soon filled with succulent meats and fresh, aromatic vegetables. Taking an imaginary ladle and bowl, helping oneself, then settling onto the furs, ready to dine invisibly amongst Celtic royalty. The stew was a colorful bounty: homegrown leeks and cabbage, parsnips and carrots. A bite revealed rich, hearty flavors, underscored by the tang of wild garlic and parsley. It was a meal evoking comfort, warmth, family, home. Beside this unseen guest, Marika and her daughters finished their meal, placing empty bowls on a low wooden table. They picked up goblets of homemade mead, sipping contentedly, its honeyed fragrance filling the air. They spoke easily, sharing details of their day, faces glowing in the firelight's embrace. Verica wore a golden torque, even more magnificent than the one witnessed earlier. Countless bands braided around its ornate, heavy base, the ends decorated with intricate Celtic knots. Her bright blue war paint had been carefully removed. Her tartan cloak hung upon the wall. Illuminated by the golden flames, the warrior queen seemed even more striking. Her hair was a mass of fiery red curls, her piercing eyes sparkling like polished emeralds. The fearsome spirit within was palpable, yet now softened by a kindness, a tenderness previously unseen. She was undeniably the warrior queen, but here, in the sanctuary of her home, she was also a loving mother. The girls chattered about their day at the fort, and Verica shared tales from her journeys further afield. Her eyes shone, reflecting the firelight, glinting off swords and shields propped against the roundhouse walls. Her words lifted spirits. Listening quietly as she told her daughters of her plans to meet with leaders of neighboring tribes, to persuade them to join the Iceni cause. She would defeat the Roman enemy, she stated, not as a boast, but as a matter of fact, gently stroking her eldest daughter's hair. What a profound privilege to witness this intimate scene. How relaxed, how utterly content one felt here, little knowing that nightfall held yet more quiet wonders. Seeing the sky darken through the smoke hole, Verica led her daughters outside. They lay side by side on the cool grass nearby, joining them, gazing upwards, just as they did, into a celestial tapestry gleaming with stars. Knowing the Celts held deep reverence for the heavens, listening as they spoke in hushed, soothing tones of the constellations' shifting patterns, their positions. Verica pointed towards the North Star, the destination, she explained, for Celtic souls in the afterlife, reached by following the twisting stairway of stars ascending towards it. Here upon the grass, the night air, a cool caress upon the face, a state of utter peace descended, letting eyes drift closed, noticing again that lightness, that buoyant feeling, floating, drifting, transported through time and space, back to the library where this incredible journey began. The glass ceiling of the atrium now interposed itself between the observer and the star-filled night. The greenery beneath was no longer grass, but the plush velvet cushions of the reading nook. Resting on a tartan cushion nearby, the book had fallen open, revealing a central illustration of the warrior queen and her daughters. Looking upon it with a quiet smile, thinking it a pale echo, the real woman was infinitely more impressive. Then, closing the book, sinking deep into the soft cushions, laying thoughts gently to rest beside them, drifting off finally into a deep and dreamy slumber, the echoes of history whispering into the quiet dark. Before you, bathed in the generous warmth of the afternoon sun, stands a compact house, its walls the color of ripe lemons, nestled within an embrace of verdant foliage. A slender path, paved with time-worn cobblestones, wins its way to the simple wooden door. Sunlight descends, a warm weight upon your shoulders, glancing off the broad, slick leaves of garden palms. The air hangs heavy, saturated with the mingled perfumes of ripening fruit, damp earth, and unseen blossoms. You allow your bare feet to press into the cool yieldingness of the grass, your gaze drinking in the bursts of orange and pink blooms as your lungs fill with their sweet, citrus-tinged fragrance. The wooden door eases open, revealing a woman whose smile seems as native to her face as the blossoms are to the garden. Barefoot, clad in shorts and a loose, long-sleeved shirt, she steps out. She introduces herself as Elena, her voice warm, explaining she will be your guide through the world of cacao this afternoon. With a welcoming gesture, she invites you inside. You leave your sandals at the threshold, stepping onto the cool interior floor. Your eyes adjust, landing on a square wooden table dominating the room's center. Upon it rest small bowls, meticulously arranged, holding the raw materials of magic: whole cacao beans, dark powder, and neat squares of finished chocolate. Shelves line the walls, laden with packages of chocolate and aromatic herbal teas. A modest kitchen occupies one corner, its stove awaiting its role, Elena notes, in roasting the beans later. Beyond the main table, glimpsed through glass panels, is a smaller, more clinical space, containing a stainless steel table and a formidable melting pot. You both take seats at the central wooden table. Elena begins to speak, her words painting a picture of heritage, of 3 generations tending this very land, cultivating cacao. She speaks of its profound significance to the indigenous peoples, a revered fruit, its beans once serving as currency, central to ceremonies that persist even now. She slides a bowl towards you. You select a single cacao bean. Its surface is smooth beneath your fingertips, its scent earthy and deep. Tentatively, you bite into it, a wave of satisfying bitterness flooding your mouth. Next, your fingers explore the ground nibs, feeling their pleasant grit before tasting their grainy texture. Finally, a piece of finished chocolate, already softening slightly in the ambient warmth. You place it on your tongue before it yields completely to the air, letting it dissolve slowly. A tide of rich sweetness washes from the tip of your tongue, coating your cheeks, flowing down your throat. Exquisite. A buoyant energy begins to bubble within you, born of the chocolate's delightful taste and the anticipation of uncovering its creation. Elena mentions this effect. Chocolate, she says, imparts an energy akin to coffee, but without the ensuing agitation, a potent yet calming force. The plant's deeper health benefits, she promises, will be revealed soon. Rising, Elena leads you back towards the door, towards the living tapestry outside. Slipping your feet back into your shoes, you re-emerge into the sun-drenched air. The world is a symphony of greens, punctuated by vibrant notes of yellow, orange, and pink. Following her down a gentle slope beside the house, it feels as though every patch of earth offers something nourishing. Elena stoops, pulling a green-topped plant from the soil to reveal a knobbly, bulbous root. It resembles ginger, yet when she slices it open, its flesh glows a startling, vivid orange. She places it in your hand. The skin feels rough against your palm. You turn the root over, bringing it close to inhale the sharp, spicy aroma of turmeric. Handing it back, you notice a faint orange stain blooming on your skin. Your path takes you onward towards a papaya tree, the ground soft and forgiving beneath your steps. Its pale brown trunk ascends to a crown of long, slender leaves that flutter in the breeze. Just below this canopy, like precious jewels, clusters of oval, green papayas cling tightly to the trunk. As you trail Elena across the garden, your eyes catch a sprawling lemon tree, a passion fruit vine draped with plump offerings, and a defensive cluster of spiky aloe. Now, a dirt path guides you up a slight incline. Here stand shorter trees, bearing what look like enormous, ridged lemons and limes. These, Elena explains, are the cacao trees, and the oval fruits, in shades of yellow and green, are the cacao pods. She plucks a yellow one, handing it to you. It possesses a surprising weight, its skin waxy and textured with bumps. Together, you gather several more pods, carrying your harvest along the shaded earth path back towards the lemon-yellow house. Inside, the air feels cool, stirred by the lacy rotation of an overhead fan. The chocolate making is about to commence. Elena arranges the yellow and green pods on the counter. With a knife, she deftly slices them open, revealing rows of beans encased in a fleshy, white pulp. She instructs you to taste one, but only the fruit, not the bean itself. You place the white morsel in your mouth. It melts against your tongue, sweet and slightly tangy. Carefully, you suck the pulp away, mindful not to crack the bean beneath. The taste and slippery texture evoke lychee. Removing the seed, you hold a raw cacao bean. A tentative nibble confirms its current state. Soft, intensely bitter, a world away from the chocolate it will become. Trying one from a yellow, riper pod reveals a slightly sweeter fruit. These beans, still cloaked in their white fruit, Elena explains, would typically be left to ferment under the sun for a week. During fermentation, the beans absorb the fruit's sugars, developing the complex precursors to chocolate's signature flavor. Elena then produces beans that have already undergone this process, allowing you to proceed. She clicks a switch, igniting the gas stove's flame, and sets a large frying pan upon it. You pour the fermented beans into the pan. The dry roasting begins. Instantly, the air thickens with the unmistakable aroma of warming chocolate. You stir the beans, listening to their gentle clicking against the hot metal. After several minutes, the pan is removed from the heat. The roasted beans tipped onto a plate. Picking one up, you feel its residual warmth before biting down. The outer shell offers a satisfying crunch, releasing a wave of pure, warm cocoa flavor. Slowly, you savor the entire bean, marveling at the transformation from the raw bitterness tasted earlier. Once the tasting concludes, you roast another batch, pouring the finished beans into a larger bowl. Then you and Elena walk past the glass-walled room with its melting pot and out the back door onto a wooden deck. 2 grinders stand ready. Beyond the deck, on the grass, a long table is covered with trays lined with broad, flat banana leaves. On these leaves lie cacao beans in various stages of sun-drenched fermentation. Back on the deck, you pour your roasted beans into the first grinder. Round and round you crank the metal handle. The machine groans softly, crushing the beans into smaller, irregular pieces, cacao nibs. You watch them tumble into the collection tray. The very act of grinding releases a potent chocolate fragrance, stirring faint, pleasant memories of childhood treats. Scooping up a handful of nips, you inhale deeply before letting them cascade through your fingers. You pour the remaining beans in, continuing to turn the wheel. The lush backdrop of trees and plants, a serene accompaniment to your labor. When all the beans are coarsely ground, Elena demonstrates the sifting technique. Cupping the nibs, you toss them gently upwards. The lighter, papery shells catch the breeze and drift away, while the heavier, denser cacao fragments fall back into the tray. You try it yourself, feeling the satisfying weight of the grounds slip through your fingers as the shells dance away, settling like brown confetti on the earth below. The ground around the station is carpeted in these discarded shells, perfuming the air. The soft hooting of unseen birds drifts from nearby trees. A light breeze kisses your face. The entire afternoon feels suffused with a quiet delight, and the final chocolate hasn't even been tasted yet. Suddenly, a flash of brilliant color. A scarlet macaw lands gracefully in the branches of the nearby papaya tree. You pause, watching it settle, admiring its vibrant plumage, listening for a moment to its calls. Costa Rica, a jewel box of biodiversity. The fruits tasted, the creatures seen and heard, all testament to the country's staggering natural beauty. With the nibs sifted free of their shells, you carry the tray to the second grinder, this one designed for a finer consistency. Again, you turn the lever, round and round, watching the nibs transform into a progressively finer powder. The cocoa scent intensifies with each rotation, evoking cozy images of steaming hot chocolate on cold days. The breeze continues its gentle caress as you work. An iguana, prehistoric and unconcerned, ambles slowly across the yard. Once the grinding is complete, Elena offers you a glass of cool water. You take a grateful sip, wiping a bead of sweat from your brow. Chocolate making, you realize, is labor, but deeply satisfying labor. Resting for a moment, you inhale again, noticing how the rich chocolate aroma now weaves through the floral scents of the garden. An utterly intoxicating blend. Water finished, you carry the tray of fine powder back inside, entering the dedicated chocolate-making chamber. It's a small, cool room, the most modern part of the house. Glass walls offer views, both outward to the garden and inward to the kitchen, where the final tasting awaits. On the gleaming stainless steel counter sits an open-topped metal blender. You pour the chocolate powder in. Elena switches it on. The powder begins to whirl, a brown cyclone becoming finer and finer. First, any lingering coarse bits vanish until it resembles cocoa powder ready for drinking. Then, Astonishingly, the powder begins to liquefy. Elena explains this phenomenon. The friction and heat generated by the blending release the natural cacao butter within the beans, transforming the solid grounds into molten chocolate. You watch, mesmerized, as the bowl fills with a smooth, glossy liquid. Elena hands you a small wooden stick for tasting. The mixture is thick, viscous. It clings heavily to the stick when you lift it out. The taste of pure, blended cacao is intensely rich, almost creamy, astonishing given that no milk or sugar has yet touched it. While you continue your appreciative sampling, Elena slips out and returns bearing jars filled with colorful dried fruits. One holds the spiky greenskins of guanabana. Another contains the tiny, dark seeds of passion fruit. A third jar reveals the dramatic white flesh and magenta skin of dragon fruit, while the last holds dried marignon, the small reddish-orange cashew apples bursting with vitamin C. You take a moment considering the potential flavor pairings. Admiring the vibrant colors, you uncap the jars, inhaling the distinct aromas. Sweet, sharply citrusy, subtly sour. You choose the passion fruit. Elena grinds the dried seeds into a fine powder. Then she pours the liquid chocolate directly onto the cool steel counter. It spreads outwards from a central pool, forming a perfect, ever-widening circle. Elena sprinkles the passion fruit powder evenly across the surface. The sweet tang of the fruit marries the deep cocoa scent in the air. She hands you a short metal spatula. You begin to fold the powder into the chocolate, feeling the smooth, yielding texture as you stir. Once thoroughly combined, you carefully pour the mixture into a silicone tray molded with heart shapes. Elena whisks the tray away to the freezer. You lick the remaining chocolate from the spatula. The passion fruit's broad tartness cuts beautifully through the creamy, slightly bitter cacao, a perfect counterpoint. Carrying the mixing bowl back to the main room, you sit again at the wooden table. Elena joins you, and together, using wooden sticks, you scrape the residual chocolate from the sides of the bowl, savoring every last drop. The unique, evolving flavor of the cacao at each stage is remarkable. It's easy to understand why it was once deemed food for the gods. Mindful of its revered status, you diligently clean the bowl. Elena smiles, sharing the impromptu snack, and begins to talk about the health benefits of minimally processed chocolate, energy enhancement, stress relief, even potential cardiovascular advantages. She mentions, too, the medicinal properties of many plants grown here on the farm, aiding digestion, boosting immunity, improving mental clarity. Seeing the contented grin spreading across your own face, fueled by raw chocolate, these benefits seem entirely plausible. You chat easily as you wait for the chocolate hearts to solidify, becoming more attuned to the house itself, the subtle creaks and whispers of the wood. In what feels like mere moments, the chocolate is ready. Elena returns, popping the firm, cool hearts from the tray onto a small plate. You pick one up. It feels solid and cool against your fingertips. But warmth begins to bloom on its surface, so you quickly place it in your mouth. You let it rest on your tongue, allowing it to melt slowly. Solidified, the flavor seems even more profound. When you remark on this, Elena suggests that mixing the liquid chocolate with milk creates an exceptional hot cocoa. Taking slow bites, the flavors detonate. The slight bitterness of the cacao, balanced by its inherent creaminess. The passion fruit adding sparks of sweet tartness. The delight is amplified by the knowledge that every component originated right here, shaped by the earth and sun of this place, and having participated directly in its creation lends an extra layer of deep satisfaction. While you eat, Elena prepares a pot of herbal tea. It's made, she explains, from guanabana leaves grown on the property, known for its potent antioxidant properties, traditionally used to treat various ailments and still valued today. The tea arrives, warm and fragrant. Its flavor is smooth, subtly bittersweet, a perfect gentle companion to the rich chocolate. Sipping the tea, finishing the last chocolate heart, you share laughter and stories with your insightful guide. Elena recounts tales of her childhood amidst the Costa Rican rainforest, of learning the ancient art of chocolate making. You, in turn, share glimpses of your own life, your own favorite comforting treats from far away. Outside, the sun begins its descent, painting the sky in hues of rose and gold. As the last piece of chocolate dissolves on your tongue, a profound sense of contentment settles over you. You savor it, letting it melt, then chewing slowly, feeling the flavor permeate not just your mouth, but your entire being. Heavenly. A smile lingering on your lips. You carry the remainder of your tea outside. The warmth of the mug seeps into your hands as you step back into the vibrant soundscape of Costa Rica. Somewhere in the distance, the guttural calls of howler monkeys echo through the trees. Two birds, their plumage impossibly bright, sing intricate melodies nearby as the lowering sun catches the myriad shapes of the leaves, turning them to liquid gold. The tea's gentle warmth spreads through you, inducing a state of utter relaxation, a feeling of being perfectly nested within this magical place. The setting sun bathes everything in a soft, rosy luminescence. The turmeric plants, the papaya and lemon trees, the very air itself. A wave of gratitude washes over you for the chance to experience this place, this process, and especially this extraordinary chocolate. Surrendering to the moment, letting the sounds and scents and colors envelop you. A deep sense of peace descends, a feeling akin to being ready for sleep, cradled by the murmuring symphony of the Costa Rican night.